Whatever the world throws at you, take it on.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song.
Be unstoppable. The all-new 2015 Ford Edge.
And good afternoon, everyone, from the lobby of Brenner Motors on the corner of the South Loop and Lillian Street in Stephenville. Make sure you stop by. We will be here for 30 minutes, and we've got food courtesy of the pizza place in Stephenville. The Plowboy's starting to get some pieces of pizza, so you might want to get here soon, but we should have plenty of food. We've got refreshments, and of course, Tarleton athletic giveaways later in the half hour. The Coach Lonn Reisman radio show is brought to you by the Bruner Auto family, so thanks for their support, as always, in making this show possible. And Coach Reisman in San Antonio today, representing Tarleton at the NCAA convention. So you say the B team. I like to say the A plus team, the JV or the A plus team. But we've got the 15th year associate head coach of the Texans, Chris Reisman here. Coach Chris, good to see you.
Thank you very much, Casey. Appreciate you.
Your team coming off a very tough loss at Midwestern State on Wednesday. Before we go back and talk about Kingsville, just talk about how the guys have bounced back over the last 2 days.
Well, obviously they were very hurt. I thought that they put a lot of effort in the game. I mean, there's some things that we can improve on, obviously, and there's a lot of things that we got to do better. But the effort was there for 40 minutes. They were very up for the game. They were very disappointed after the game, but I think they also left there with a sense of this is a team that we can beat. And you know, when you play a great team on the road like Midwestern, you got the motto going in is to try to steal one on the road. You got to defend your home floor, and a lot of times, like you and I discussed in the pregame, there's even more pressure to withhold that home floor. And I thought our guys came out pretty loose, and you know, defensively did some good things early and got them out of their rhythm, but just kind of, it was kind of one of those feelings that we let one get away, you know, because we had the opportunity, we felt like to steal that game. We were in control for a lot of the game, and for whatever reason, whether it was turnovers or scoring droughts, we just weren't able to withstand that charge that we had came out with in the second half. And so I know the guys will be motivated to later down the road play them again one day at home, but felt like it was a winnable game going home.
And we will get back into that game, but there was one game before that since our last coaches show. Of course, Tarleton defeated Angelo State 85-67, and then they returned to action on Saturday at Texas A&M Kingsville. Game you won, Coach, 50-47, but Coach Reisman was not happy after the game, to say the least.
And none of the staff was, and I don't even think the players are really happy, Casey. And you've always heard about having those big game letdowns or big game hangovers. Angelo was a big one for us. We knew that. We put a lot of preparation into it. The guys had a certain level of energy and intensity, and for whatever reason, we did not bring that same attitude to the floor at Kingsville, and we knew as a coaching staff that might be something we have to deal with. We felt like with as many players as we have coming back that have been in the big games and experienced that type of atmosphere and then having to play on the road or another very tough team the next night, we thought that we would be better than we were, and we just weren't, Casey, for whatever reason. Didn't think we had great energy, didn't think we translated what we wanted to do, and I'll tell you right now, Kingsville is probably one of the hardest playing teams in the Lone Star Conference.
Yes.
I mean, I put them up there with anybody in terms of how hard they play. They were an undefeated team at home. They've been a team that's been battling injuries and adversity, and they were coming off a very tough loss to where they were playing with desperation, and we were not. And it really showed, I thought, throughout that first half.
You missed 14 free throws, a couple key free throws at the end. That really cost you.
No doubt. And it's the guys going up to the line that we want to go up to the line. You know, Michael Harge is a guy that's played in big games, and you know, here of late has struggled a little bit recently in the line. And it's not because he's not putting time in. He's one of the first ones in the gym, and he's one of the last ones to leave. And I just think mentally, you know, he's got to go up there with a different mindset and be confident. And you know, E.J. Reed and Malcolm Hamilton, guys that have been in these big games, you know, they're going to the line and they're, you know, they got to put them in. And so, you know, it's something that we were able to at least learn from. Even though we got the win, it was nice to go home the next day. We didn't feel good driving back home, but waking up the next morning having that win obviously was a blessing.
Yeah, fans, I was giving Coach Chris and Coach Reisman a hard time on the bus the other night. I said, I don't think I've ever seen a team so mad about winning a conference game on the road. Most programs are pretty happy to win any conference game on the road. Kind of says a lot about this program and the expectations.
Exactly. I mean, the expectations are just different, you know. I mean, I think we have a lot of players that are with us for the first time or even in their second year that are still figuring out. Sometimes winning is just not, you know, it's not enough because we have such a high precedent that we set going in. I mean, now, if we play our hardest and we win or we lose, I mean, then that's something that, you know, it's a little bit easier to accept. You know, I mean, it was hard losing that game in Midwestern or not, but we knew our guys gave everything that they had, you know, and we know some things that we can do better. But coming back from Kingsville, we just did not feel like we put forth the effort the intensity or the focus going into that and translation of our scouting for our game plan. And so it was hard to live with that coming back, and something we got to get better at.
Definitely made for a long 6-hour bus ride home. You improved to 13-2 with that 3-point win over Kingsville. You would head to Wichita Falls for a game that a lot of folks had circled on their calendar, as you'd be the number 6 team in the nation, and you would take on the number 4 ranked Mustangs of Midwestern State. That's a game that you would fall 66-63 in, and kind of the big storyline is you were down by 1 at the half. You took a 9-0 run coming out of the gate in the second, then an 8-minute scoring drought. What did you see on the film during that drought?
Well, in the drought in the second half, I looked at the 10 possessions in a row where we had the right people shooting the ball. I think E.J. Reed was getting 5 or 6 shots, and 3 or 4 of them are exactly where we wanted them in our set or our offense. Charles Hill has a wide open shot on a play that we drew up where he back picks E.J. and he pops out wide open. Michael Harge and Deshaun Riddick are getting, shots that they can make late in the shot clock, and there were a couple turnovers in there. So going back, if I had to do something different, there wouldn't be a lot different that we would do. I mean, we were not just going down there and just rushing shots or taking terrible shots, but they were the right people. And on the flip side, when they went on that 9-0 run, it was a lot of their role players, getting the points. Patrick Smith had a great game against us, but we didn't play him the way that we talked about playing him going into that game. We gave him too many drives to the basket, layups, and getting to the free throw line. Herschel Grant, same thing. And we knew we couldn't give Trevor Fuller layups or offensive rebound putbacks, and we did that. And so I felt good about a lot of things, but just that game at certain points, we had to be stronger mentally, and we got to be more focused on translating certain personnel.
How strange was the end of that game? Coach, you at one point I think you were down by 4 or 5 points, and then Coach Haggerty gets a technical foul. Jordan, their point guard, Jordan Stevens, gets called for a charge, and it put you right back in the game.
Yeah, it did. And the guys never quit. They've every game we've played this year, Casey, the games that we've lost, I think the 3 games we lost are a combined 7 points this season. And so, one thing I do like about our guys is they're always feeling that they can win the game, and they never quit, and they were intense defensively, and they gave us an opportunity at the end. I even think the last shot that we took, we call that our home run package, and we got actually a pretty good look from Deshaun Riddick, who, in practice he's knocked that down many times.
And it was designed for Riddick to shoot, take that shot.
Yeah,
and I know Charles Hill kind of wanted that shot, didn't he?
Well, at the end of the game, the way that we set that up was we got 2 guys at half court, and they break towards the ball, and then we throw the ball to E.J. Long and caught the home run pass, and it's a lot of defense are going to turn and look, and when they turn and look, that's when we shoot Charles and Deshaun at the sideline, and the way the ball was passed, it shaded more Riddick's side than it did Charles, and E.J. made the right read. I mean, Riddick was streaking down and got the ball and had a pretty decent look for 2 or 3 seconds, as much as you can ask for, and so it didn't go down, but they got to come back on February 3rd to Wisdom Gym, and hopefully we can defend our home floor.
Just a quick note on Charles Hill. He had 25 points, a career high, perfect 10 of 10 from the charity stripe. And a lot of folks forget this is a guy that's in the top 15 of the conference in scoring, second on the team. But Coach Reisman told me after the game he saw something in Charles that night he had yet to see. What was that?
Intensity, emotion, passion for the game. Charles is a quiet guy. He's a guy that goes out there and just does his job and plays, and every once in a while will show emotion, but he was very animated throughout the entire game. There's something about him, he's a big game type player. It's something that we want from him is to have that type of intensity and focus more consistently. And Charles has the ability to score like he did, and he scored against a very good defensive team. He has the ability to do that every single night, but what he has to do is bring that same type of attitude to the floor. And if he does that, his best basketball is going to be in front of him down this conference stretch, and that's going to mean good things for us.
With the loss, Tarleton falls to 13-3 overall and 3-1 in the Lone Star Conference. We'll take our first break. When we return in 1 minute, the reigning Lone Star Conference Defensive Player of the Week, forward Xavier Smith, will join the show when the Coach Lonn Reisman radio show continues right after this. Time now for this week's Tarleton Player Spotlight. Our guest today, this week's Lone Star Conference Defensive Player of the Week. He's a 2013 graduate of Plano East High School. He spent 2 years at Division I St. Bonaventure before transferring to Tarleton over the offseason. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Help me welcome to the show number 22, Xavier Smith. And X, how are you today, bro? Hey, good, man. Good to see you. I do want to let you know that Lonn Reisman's in his truck coming back from San Antonio, and he's listening right now, so no pressure, but your head coach is in the car listening. First off, Monday, you were named Defensive Player of the Week in the Lone Star Conference. How does that work? I mean, when do you find out? Do you look on social media and see that? Does your coach tell you? Or?
Actually, I found out right before practice. Ryan told me, he showed me a text saying I got it, so I was very pleased.
Yeah, how did that feel to just know that doing that hard work in the paint and the 5 blocks, the 14 points, and 11 boards that you had over the last week, how did that feel that was recognized?
It felt good. I mean, it always feels good when you're recognized for putting in work. did my thing, just go hard as I can on the court. So.
Now, your brother Zach plays for Texas Tech. Your dad played at Arkansas Little Rock. They went to the Sweet 16 in '85. Basketball must be a pretty important part of the Smith family, huh?
Yes, I've been playing ball since I can remember, just me and my brother. So.
Is it one of those things where your dad pushed you to play, or?
Yes, my dad was always pushing me to play since I was very young.
Does he ever share any stories with you from his time in Arkansas Little Rock? If you don't know, the team that he was on in '85, correct me if I'm wrong, upset Notre Dame in the NCAA tournament, went to the Sweet 16. Does he talk about that?
Yeah, he talks a lot about his college career. He talks about his coach. He talks about moments he had, the special moments making that run to the tournament. So it's nice to hear those things.
Yeah, it must have been a pretty neat experience. And I guess your parents met at Arkansas Little Rock. Your mom was a two-sport athlete there?
Yeah, she played volleyball up there. She was a middle volleyball team.
Middle blocker, huh?
Yeah.
A lot of blocking that goes on. Your brother Zach is at Texas Tech right now, and a sophomore. He started all 15 games for Tubby Smith. Have you got to see him play live, or do you have to watch TV?
I got to see him for the first time live when I was in winter break, so that was good to see him. He had a pretty good game.
Who'd they play?
They played Arkansas Little Rock.
Yeah, and that's kind of interesting because your dad played there, and Angelo State's head coach last year, Chris Beard's now the head coach at Arkansas Little Rock. How was that game?
It was fun. He had a good game, 12 points, 12 rebounds.
Really?
Good blocks, yeah. That's it.
Now he's leading Texas Tech in rebounding, 6.4 boards per game. He's got 20 blocks, which is first on the team. Now you have 32 blocks,
Yeah.
so you got 12 more blocks than Zach. Do y'all have a little sibling rivalry there?
I mean, we've been having that little rivalry with stats since we've seen our stats, so it's always nice to compare stats. And of course, he's playing at a little higher level, playing the Big 12, but it's still fun to compare stats.
You left Plano East High School in 13 after you graduated. 3 players on this roster. I don't know if y'all realize that. There was a time this year when all 3 Plano East players were on the court. In Chico Morales, Sawyer Kipp, and yourself. Did you ever think you'd play in college with 3 of your teammates from high school?
I didn't think so. I mean, it's nice. It's fun seeing the same guys you've seen in high school on the court and in the locker room in college as well.
Did they kind of play an influence in you coming to Tarleton?
Yes, it was hitting my phone when they realized that I was transferring. It was a big part of me coming here.
Now, at Plano East, you played for head coach Jeff Clarkson, who played for Lonn Reisman at Tarleton. Talk about Coach Clarkson and kind of the role he played developing you as a player.
He helped me out with the recruiting. He was kind of like the middleman. He told me about the school and gave me his opinion on the school, and it's nice to know somebody who's actually been in the shoes, who played for the school, played for Coach Reisman. So.
Sure. Visiting with junior forward Xavier Smith, our Tarleton Player Spotlight here at the Coach Lonn Reisman radio show. Now, Xavier transferred from St. Bonaventure University, a Division I program in the Atlantic 10 Conference. Raise your hand if you're here and you know where St. Bonaventure is, or you've heard of it. John Kirby has, with Chris Reisman has, T.D. Harrell has. So we've probably got 60 people here, and 57 haven't heard of St. Bonaventure. Where is it? What was that experience like?
St. Bonaventure is a small D1 school in upstate New York, only about like 33,000 kids. It's very small, but it's very different. A lot of mountains, snows 24/7, 365.
Different from Plano High School, Plano, Texas, yeah. And what's a Bonnie? The mascot there is this. It's the Bonnie. Is that the mascot? What is that? I don't even know what that is.
I mean, Bonnie. It's what they call themselves. I know they taught me in class, but I might have been dozing off a little bit.
You're not supposed to admit that. What's the transition been like playing here at Tarleton? What have you learned in a few months?
I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I didn't play much in St. Bonaventure, so coming here, I've been on the floor a lot more. I learned more about my game than I had before. My confidence has been raising every single game, so I've been making good steps for it.
And you know, E.J. Reed transferred in from the Northeast. What's the name of that conference up there? I think it's the Northeast Conference. He played at LIU Brooklyn, and he told me last year in the same position you're in that he thought the competition in the Lone Star was just as good as that Northeastern Conference. How does the Lone Star talent level compare to the Atlantic 10?
It's just as good. The environment is the same. The players are just the same. I was surprised when I first seen the scout reports and I'm playing against these players. I'm like, these players are good. I played these players up in New York, so it was
just as good, huh? What about the environment at Midwestern State Wednesday night? How does that compare to some of those Atlantic 10 games?
It was a D1 environment. I mean, the fans were loud. It was actually a lot like a lot louder than some of the D1 games I had up there, up in New York. So that was a big surprise.
How's the team reacted after that loss, and what's the mentality going forward?
I mean, we was disappointed. We put a lot of effort and focus into the game, and to come up short like that, we was disappointed. I was disappointed myself. But, I mean, we just got to move on. We got to go to practice today and tomorrow and just refocus and try to get the win on Wednesday.
X, as always, thanks for your time. Congratulations. You've only been here a few months, already winning Player of the Week awards in the conference. Best of luck to you down the stretch.
I appreciate it.
That is junior forward Xavier Smith, our Tarleton Player Spotlight. We return in 1 minute. Coach Chris and I will preview the game against Eastern New Mexico and take you around the Lone Star Conference. Back after this from the lobby of Brunner Motors. Time to go around the Lone Star Conference in the nation. Let's start as I welcome back in Associate Head Coach Chris Reisman and take a quick look at the NABC Top 25 poll this week. Coach, it has Midwestern State at number 4, yourself at number 6. Angelo State lost 2 games last week. They fall from 4 to number 15. But I want to ask you about Texas A&M Commerce. They got 13 votes. Is that a team that, and I know you're on this committee, is that a team that should be ranked?
They're a team that I had ranked in the top 25. A lot of those 13 votes are probably coming from me. And, you know, they're a team that up until the last game, they were 12-2 and won 9 or 10 games in a row. And they have a lot of talent, Casey. They got a lot of size, and they got a few players back from last year that have played in big games. And so I think they're definitely deserving of any consideration in the top 25.
Let's take a look at the Lone Star Conference schedule over the past week since our last show. There was 3 games on Saturday, January 9th. We talked about Tarleton defeating Kingsville 50-47. You had Midwestern State blowing out Eastern New Mexico 90-56 in Wichita Falls. And then Texas A&M Commerce gets a big road win over Angelo State 93 to 88. You had 1 game on Sunday. It was West Texas A&M over Cameron in Lonn 83 to 78. That's a big road win for West Texas.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, WT, if they're shooting the 3, they're very, very good, very, very dangerous. And I'll tell you what, with that Eastern Midwestern score, a lot of people don't understand this, but if they miss a goal in the first half, that's a 4-point game.
Really?
And Midwestern goes on a big run in the first half, and they come out in the second half, and they really extend it late in the half. And so that score is not as indicative as well as Eastern played early in that game.
4 games on Wednesday. Again, number 4 Midwestern over number 6 Tarleton, 66-63. Texas A&M Kingsville gets a home win, 74-61 over Eastern New Mexico in Kingsville. You had Angelo State defeating West Texas A&M 85-75 in San Angelo. Let's talk about that game for a bit, because at one point I believe that West Texas A&M had about a 10-point lead, so that was a big comeback for Angelo State, a big win.
No doubt, and I think the game before against Commerce, they were down 19 and came back and took the lead by 3 points. The day we were down in Kingsville, we were listening to it, and then Commerce ended up coming back and winning. So Angelo has that firepower. We know how good they are offensively. I think as they continue to get very defensively, they're going to be a force in the conference. But that was a big win that was very much needed by them, especially being a home game. They needed to defend their home floor, and that might give them some momentum moving forward towards their next game.
Yeah, definitely had to get that one after ending a 2-game losing streak. The game I want to talk a minute about is Cameron over Texas A&M Commerce, 66-57 in Lawton. Commerce was on a 9-game winning streak, and at one point the Lions had an 18-point lead.
We heard about it coming back. Haven't got a chance to really watch the game, as Casey, but I know how tough it is to win in Lawton. You know, obviously every time we go down there, it seems like it's an overtime game or a 2 or 3 point game. Commerce came playing very well. From what I gathered, Kevin didn't shoot the ball very well. I think they were 3 for 15 from 3, but really came out in the second half and started doing some good things. And they have a lot of players we saw them firsthand. I think they're a very good team. I think they're a team to be reckoned with. And if you don't play well on any given night, they can probably beat any team in this conference. And so, you know, congrats to Cameron that they really came out and played well. And you know, as a coach, you don't want many teams going on the road and getting wins. You know, you want to win your home games and go steal. You don't want anybody else stealing. So it was good for Cameron, for us, I think, to win that game.
Texas A&M Kingsville will travel to West Texas A&M on Saturday. That game, of course, in Canyon. You've got Angelo State, a 5 o'clock tip-off in Portales against Eastern New Mexico, and then Midwestern State at Texas A&M Commerce. That game is very big, Midwestern at Commerce, and I guess if you're a Tarleton fan, you kind of need Commerce to defend that home court.
Right, no doubt, and it's like we just were alluding to. I mean, you don't want teams to go on the road and win this early. You want the home team to normally win. and then as the conference season kind of gets closer to the end, then you kind of pick and choose. But yeah, Commerce they need to get that win. They went on the road and they lost, and now they need to come back and defend their home floor. And even that Eastern Angelo game is going to be a good game. I think Eastern's in the same boat. They just went on the road twice. They went to Wichita Falls and Kingsville. Now they're going back against Angelo, and they're a very capable team. They got some guys back that have been injured or out for whatever reason, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in Portales. Always a tough game, always a tough place to play.
Only have about 2 minutes left of this segment. Just quickly, the Lone Star Conference standings: Midwestern in first at 3-0, Tarleton in second at 3-1, Commerce in third at 2-1, fourth place Cameron at 3-2. There's a tie for fifth place at 1-2 between Angelo State and Kingsville. West Texas A&M in seventh at 1-3. Eastern New Mexico at 0-3 in eighth place. Coach, you're going to get 6 days off now in the schedule. Your return to action Wednesday night against the Greyhounds of Eastern New Mexico at Wisdom Gym. They are 4-11 on the year, and you alluded to this early. They haven't really had a full, healthy team, and they just got John Gillum back. That'll help.
No doubt. 4-11 is very deceiving for them. John Gillum's an all-league player. He's only played in 7 games. Got injured early in the year. Last game was his first game back. He'll have another game under his belt by the time they come in here. Their starting point guard last year, Chris Wimes, just got eligible after the December break, and so he's back in the line. Lawrence Domingo is another returning starter who's been playing fantastic for them all year long, averaging about 17 and 8. And so getting those 3 guys back playing together again, along with some of the additions that Coach Carter has, they're a team that can definitely make some noise, and they can play well, and they can go and give a lot of teams trouble. Yeah,
Domingo, one of the better forwards in the conference, 4th in rebounding at 8 a game, and I think he had like 21 points on Wednesday night.
Yeah, Domingo he's a player that I've coached against since he was a freshman. He's always been high energy, high motor, but he's just one of those forwards that's very versatile. He's big, he's strong, but he can also really handle the basketball. He's a mismatch type guy, and he plays with a lot of energy and enthusiasm, so he's always been a difficult guy to prepare against, and we'll have our hands full.
It's no doubt that the Greyhounds have struggled offensively this year, probably because they haven't had a full team all year. But 2 things they do very well, Coach: offensive rebounding, and they get to the line 432 times this year, 18th in the nation. They're going to be tough in those 2 areas.
No doubt. They're leading the conference in offensive rebounding, over 15 rebounds a game, and you and I both know how good the rebounding teams are in this league with Midwestern and Commerce and Cameron and Angelo. And so for them to be the #1 offensive rebounding team is something that hasn't happened much, and I just think right now they're doing a great job of all attacking. And getting to the line is something that they did well last year. They really spread people out. They dribble, drive. They got versatile players, that 1 through 4, that can all get to the basket and create. And that's what makes them such a tough matchup. And that's one reason they're getting to the line so much, is because they do have that versatility.
And you want to get back on the left side of the column. How important is it in this game to defend your home court?
Oh, it's very important. If you want to contend for the conference championship, you're going to have to win these types of games at home. And you got to continue to try to go on the road and steal games. And we were able to get a split on that last road trip. Had a chance to win both of them, but didn't. And now we have to come home. We have to find a way. We have got to win at home, and if we want to compete and contend for the LSC, and that's the formula, is to win your home games and still win on the road. And that's what makes this Eastern game coming up the most important game of the year.
We'll take our final break. When we return in 1 minute, Coach Chris and I will wrap up this 3rd edition of the Coach Lonn Reisman Radio Show when Tarleton Texan basketball continues right after this. And welcome back to Burner Motors. Thanks to our live audience. Just a fantastic crowd out today. And coming off a loss, you never know. And the B team, Coach Chris and I here, and
great
still
crowd.
A big crowd.
Couldn't ask for anything more. I want to thank the Plowboys for coming out. They're always one of our best supporting groups that have come to all the games, and we really appreciate them. And thanks to all the community and all the boosters coming back out and support.
I don't think those folks at DL League knew what to do the other night when the Plowboys walk in and the Pooh invade the arena. I actually saw the Pooh walking around just kind of taunting people. I actually got harassed on the way out of the arena. So yeah, it's the first time anybody's ever talked smack. I'm like, hey, I'm just calling the game, man. Give me a break here.
Well, we're certainly appreciative of all the groups and all the organizations that come to support us, and to have a university that backs you up and sends 3 fan buses to a game is obviously a phenomenal experience, and we really appreciate everybody that came out and was able to support us in Wichita Falls.
We say thanks each week by spinning the prize wheel here to my left. You can win an oil change or a car wash courtesy of Burner Motors. We got polo shirts, hats, all kinds of things. The grand prize will be a spin-off on Friday, February 26th. If you spin the grand prize, you'll come back on the 26th and spin off for a chance to win a prize package to the Lone Star Conference Tournament in Allen, Texas. So the first person to spin off tonight, the Director of Major Gifts at Tarleton State, Wayne Davenport. Wayne, come down. And by the way, Mr. 2500 is to my left. Y'all might have seen the article in the paper about Jerry Thornton and his 2500 workout at Tarleton State on the cycle. You can actually win a workout with Jerry on here this week. So you might win a workout with Jerry. You got it. You got a workout, so you're going to get to go to the Motor Lab in Wisdom Gym and work out with Jerry Thornton. And congratulations to you, Jerry. Congratulations to you, Wayne. And so next winner is Hayden Frederick. Hayden, come on up. I don't think Hayden's missed a game the last. How long you been at Tarleton now? 7 or 8 years? Hayden, come on up. Make sure you spin it around once. There we go. Here we go. The wheel is spinning, and Hayden gets spin again. All right. Do you like this or the dice better?
This is pretty.
You like
pretty
this?
fun. Yeah, it's pretty good to watch.
Grand prize! You're coming back for a spinoff. How about that? Give him a hand. So he'll come back for the grand prize spinoff. Were you in that last year? No? Okay. And our third winner, Carol Shores. Carol, come on down. Carol, congratulations. And so Carol will be the third person to spin the wheel today. And come out next week and you can spin the wheel. And, Carol, make sure you spin it around at least once, okay? You got it? Here we go. Carol will spin the wheel. Last week we had 3 hats hit, so it's, oh, we did 2 workouts with Jerry. So you're going to get to work out with Jerry Thornton. And Jerry's a celebrity in this town, so you're going to get to go to the Motor Lab and work out with Jerry Thornton. So congratulations. Okay, Jerry, make sure you work these folks hard, okay? So congratulations to our winners today. I was going to spin it and see what I get. All right, the Texans are 8-7 overall, 2-3 in the conference. They fell to Midwestern State by 4 on Wednesday night. They're going to return to action on Sunday. And that's a game we need folks to get to against Texas Women's on Sunday, Coach. A big one for them.
No doubt, and they've shown potential at home. You know, beating Angelo the way they did, and then I hear Angelo's women beat West Texas women. So, you know, they've shown the opportunity to go into games and beat big teams. And I know TWU is a team right now that is doing well in the conference, and we're going to get everybody's support. And I know our girls are capable.
Yeah, that game starts at 2 o'clock on Sunday, so don't forget Tarleton basketball on Sunday at 2 o'clock, the National Farm Life pregame show here on the radio at 1:45, and then it's Tarleton and Eastern New Mexico on Wednesday night. The Texans at 5:30, the Texans at 7:30. We'll have the National Farm Life pregame show on the men's side at 7:15 on Wednesday. You'll hear from the man to my right, Chris Reisman. We'll have starting lineups and more. Remember the Coach Misty Wilson show every Thursday at noon from the lobby of First Financial Bank in Stephenville. The Lonn Reisman show continues every Friday at noon from Brunner Motors in Stephenville. Thanks to the pizza place in Stephenville for providing the food today. Thanks to our special guest, junior forward Xavier Smith, our producer, Aaron Young, back at the KTRL studio, my on-site engineer to my left, who we spent about 30 minutes trying to get this sound system working right. That is Jody Lee Cottle. Thanks, Jody Lee. Thanks to the Brunner Auto family, Greg and Dwayne Brunner, for sponsoring the show all season long. Last but not least, thanks to each and every one of you for listening and for your support of Tarleton Athletics. Coach, time now for our final question. How far is this team away from peaking and playing its best basketball?
Well, we talked about that a little bit in the locker room the other night, Casey. I mean, and you and I even talked about this before the show, and you see spurts of where we're playing really, really well. The key is going to be consistency for us to peak. You know, and it's not just team consistency, it's player consistency. You see certain players that are playing a high level, and then the next game is somebody completely different. And that's okay to have, you know, other people stepping up, but we need to be more consistent with our efforts individually and then as a team. And I think once you see that consistency, you'll see this team start to take off.
Well, enjoy the 6-day break. Thanks for pinch hitting today, and we'll talk to you Wednesday.
Thanks, Casey. Appreciate it.
That is the associate head coach of the Texans, Chris Reisman. That's going to do it for this 3rd edition of the Coach Lonn Reisman radio show. For Chris Reisman and Lonn Reisman, I'm Casey Hogan saying so long from Brunner Motors in Stephenville. Until next time, have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you at Wisdom Gym on Sunday afternoon.